Hi, and a very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session brought to you by Villa in Asia. Before we start, I would like to remind everyone to like our page on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can follow us for updates. Just search for Villa in Asia or click on the link provided on the Q&A section on the right-hand side of the screen. For any other inquiries, you can actually WhatsApp us. There is the WhatsApp number which is displayed on the screen, +6 012 266 0189. Speaking of which, I would like to also encourage you guys to drop in your questions throughout this session. You can utilize the Q&A section located on the right-hand side of the screen. If it's not open, just click on the blip, which is the Q&A icon and open it up. And you'll also see the link for our Facebook and LinkedIn displayed on that section, so you can actually click on it and like our page for more updates. For today's session, we have Miss Carissa Ong, and she's the lead product designer of the e-wallet Boost, which has about 200 headcounts in the organization, and she manages 7 designers under her and reports to 30 stakeholders. It's a really it sounds like a very huge role that she plays over there, and she also has time to actually publish books as well. She has her own startup, which is an own publishing company, which is called Pen Wings, and she has already written 3 books and working on one. One of them is Midnight Monologue, which is awarded the winning finalist in the poetry category in 2017 International Book Awards, awarded winning finalist in the best cover design fiction category in 2017 International Book Award, and MPH Best Paperback Fiction nominees 2016. So if you've not read Midnight Monologue, I would suggest you actually do so. It's pretty good. So I'm going to hand this session over to Carissa, and she's going to share the screen, and she's also going to be presenting on remote team management. So it's over to you, Carissa.
All right, thank you, Norman, for the introduction. Very detailed. Okay, hello everyone. As Norman has introduced, and I will introduce myself again. My name is Carissa Ong, and I will be sharing my screen. There we go. 1 second. Okay, cool. So about 2 weeks ago, I was actually requested to talk about remote team management because obviously it's quite a big issue in terms of work, because it definitely shifted everyone's thinking about the way of work, right? It accelerated from what we think is normal previously. We have to adapt again to a newer normal, which is people working remotely. In many countries, remote is very normal, but not as much in Malaysia. So what this virus did is that it basically just accelerated us into the future by a few decades. So because of this acceleration, a lot of people find it hard to adapt to these new working norms. And even when the MCO is lifted, there's still quite a lot of employees that would just prefer to just work at home still. So how do we manage like people that work from home and also people that work that are starting to go back to the office, right? So this is a compilation of whatever I have faced and me and my team has faced over the past 2 or 3 months of being at home. Yeah. So I think this is a very important deck for me because previously as a person, I do not believe in remote working at all. I actually turned down a few remote working jobs because it was remote. The fact that it was remote and the fact that I cannot be face-to-face with people. So this whole experience is definitely like an eye-opening thing for me. And I would love to share it with you after this. Yeah, so in official terms, I am the product design lead of Boost. And also in this role, like Norman mentioned, I kind of liaise and talk to 30 different stakeholders in Boost because we have many different products in the company anyway. So we have internal products, we have the merchant products, which is the merchant app, and also obviously the customer app, which we have about 7 million users and growing at the moment. So not only do I handle the training of the new designers, and also basically organizing work and flowing it to different designers, I also do hands-on stuff. So I had to hands-on UI UX designing, animating via Adobe After Effects, prototyping, sprint planning, UX copywriting, product management for the Boost website, and also research. So we have a research department now, which consists of 2 or 3 people on my team. We do Scrum and also a lot of data analytics to make sure our design is proven and validated by the market. Also, part of my job is to enhance our design process. Right now it's quite detailed, so it's one of a kind that suits Boost. And also admin stuff, so I handle invoices and quotations sometimes for different vendors. So what are we going to talk about today? So the juicy stuff is that before we go into remote managing people in general, we gotta talk about the team itself first and what consists of the team. And then only truly after understanding the team, then only we can manage them. So the second part, the most important part also, is onboarding remotely, and then working remotely itself, and then we'll just go on a quick slide of the future of work. So yeah, if there's any questions, probably you could maybe Norman can WhatsApp me or something, because the screen is in full screen. Okay, yeah. So the first part about knowing the team is basically knowing how your team is set up. Is it just you and your client, or is it like a startup of 2 to 15 people, or is it a company of 1 to 200 employees? For me, I do freelance stuff, so sometimes it's just me and my client. And also my publishing world, it's just me and 2 or 3 other people in my company, which I communicate quite often remotely via WhatsApp and all that. And then a company of more than 200 employees will be Boost. So next, yeah, this is my team. I just want to introduce them. So I'm on the right side. As you can see, on each bubble, there's a tiny little bubble as well. So these are buddy systems that we actually do to make sure that there's no blockers, or if let's say somebody's on leave, the rest of the product owners or the rest of the stakeholders will know who to approach. So I'll talk more about this much later. So this is my team. Okay, so onboarding remotely, right? Right now, everything is done via calls. So interactions will feel quite dehumanized. So how can we improve this? And I feel like the most important thing of like managing a team is like onboarding them correctly and basically overflowing or flowing the culture of your company to these new hires. So one of the challenges is onboarding culture, which is quite difficult because you can't exactly onboard like the way you guys talk or how you banter in the office, or like, you know, small little things that small little micro interactions that you do in the office that, you know, people can pick up on the way. But being remote, you don't have that, because everything that you're on a call because there is a reason, you know, you're not just on a call for fun kind of thing. But maybe you can, but it's just the interactions are just reduced by so much. So having the right onboarding is super important. So I actually created a template, an empty template, which you can use for your team. So here, I have learning goals and also barometers for my hires, for my team. So I do this every year, like the beginning of the year, and I make sure that we are as honest as possible about definitely the learning outcomes, and also like what they expect to and how can they grow in the company, right? Because a lot of times managers, they just kind of get an overview of what they want, but it's not very detailed in a way down to task level. So here, as you can see, Sasha Lim, example, is not really her name. I have divided the sections into soft skill improvements, technical improvements, aspiring role, and also concerns, and also on top there is like the NPS scoring lah. NPS means Net Promoter Score, like how and that quote over there, how I got that quote is, if you would tell your friends to, like, what's it like working for Boost, what would you say? So basically that quote is up there, way up there, because super important, right? And it will tell us a lot of things about the company itself. So if I want to go through the concerns part, I divided concerns into two sections, people and process, because that's all about how to basically address the problem, right? Because the company is their people and also their process. So in people, I have internal team and external team. Internal team means in the design team itself. So maybe she says that it would be good if you could sync up more, or external team. So what's external team mean? So interactions between the design team and also maybe the engineers or the partnerships team in Boost. So I kind of broke it down into like more detailed definitions. So what she says here, it would be good if there are more, if she was included in more meetings regarding flows, because previously it wasn't. So in that same meeting itself, we would discuss and brainstorm ways to improve and see whether if I could help with anything or she could help initiate from her side as well. In the process section, there's internal and external as well, also same stakeholders. So the process would be being systematic, streamlining a little bit more, file sharing, and basically it's quite technical. External, I get this a lot from them actually, work gets shoved to a particular designer when they get overloaded. So ways to improve is that all tasks should be directed to me, and then I will redirect that particular task to a person that's free, a designer that's free to take it up. So stuff like that, and then extra comments which they can add on. Yeah, soft skill improvements is very important because if everything is spelled out and written out clearly, I could know what this person wants to work on, and I will remind them throughout the entire year or the whole time of during employment that, hey, this is something you want to work on, right? So it's basically giving accountability to them and to myself, just to follow up with them, so they will know that someone really cares in the company and about their improvements in general and technical and soft skill. So by them telling me these things, I could then put them in projects that would enhance these skills. For example, presenting skills. I could put Sasha into presenting some decks to external stakeholders, for example, and stuff like that. And then that way she knows that she's growing, and it's the particular area that she wants to grow at. So it's not so general in a way because it's more actionable. So technical improvements would be, let's say if you want to improve on her research on quantitative and qualitative data synthesis, that means basically the easy word would be just how do you like make sense of the data, UX copywriting and animation. So by her telling me this, I could actually pair her up with a buddy, like I mentioned earlier, that is good at 2D animation. So that way, there will be a overflow of knowledge, right? You'll be knowledge sharing. So that person that's good at 2D animation would like to be better with UI. So let's say Sasha Lim is good with UI. So that way I could match make these two designers easier, and it makes more sense. And when I do match make them, I make sure they find value in this matchmaking, and I tell them why also. Your buddy is such who and who. I don't just simply go and buddy up somebody in the for no reason. So that's part of the onboarding. So the onboarding for buddy systems could be senior to junior, junior to senior, could be senior and senior together. So it doesn't really matter. But I like to pair a senior with a junior from when they come in. But before I pair them as a buddy system, they kind of go through me first for like 2-3 months to get like the standard up to par, and then only I give them like a proper buddy that they would interact with daily. And also, again, aspiring roles are very important. So for existing hires, this will make sense. They will fill everything up. I will do this every January, every beginning of the year. For new hires, they won't have any opinions on or any concerns. So what is important here is just the panel on the right side, which is what they want to improve on. And here also, I also ask them, like, is there any other skills would you like to improve on? And then later we can just build up from there. Okay. So this is the template. I don't know if you want a screenshot or something, but I think the slides will be shared. And also like the questions that you can ask them, which are filled there in placeholders. So this is super important exercise for me whenever I'm onboarding a person, be it in real life or remote, because everything is documented, and once you write it down, people are accountable to it. So working remotely. So what are the goods and what are the bads that we have experienced? Yeah, so what are the good things? So this is very, very obvious. I think everybody knows this. It's obviously more convenient, more cheaper, saves time, more efficient, more comfortable, and more environmentally friendly. So not many people are going to contest to this good stuff that we're having from remote working. There's a couple of personal stuff that we have experienced that contribute to this word decoration thing on the right side. Mind fart. But yeah, don't need to book rooms for meetings because it's always fully booked, because now every time you want to have a meeting, you just make a call, and you just need to find a place in your house that's quiet. Definitely more time for work-life balance and like stuff that you want to do after work, because you take away 2 hours from your commuting. Definitely saving money on transport, parking, and makeup. And and also you can literally work anywhere as long as there's good internet. So a lot of people that's going to cafes and stuff like that, and having a more conducive working environment rather than being in office. Plus, all meetings can be recorded, so it's easier to transcribe later on. And if the video calls, let's say for our sessions, might go up to 100 people, it's actually very organized, because the thing is, people can just type in the chat their questions and get their answers answered immediately. And definitely a lot of processes are digitized. One huge part of Boost processes that are digitized are the finances, because before that we used to kill a lot of trees. We cut a lot of trees down to print invoices and whatnot to be signed. So because of this, we are using DocuSign more. DocuSign is an online signing system that we use. And also, because us being a design team, we have to find new ways to do user interviews and for our screens. So Maze.design is a very good app for quantitative user testing. Miro is also another good tool for collaboration. If you want to map out flows or mood boards and stuff like that, then you can use this tool as well. So yeah, DocuSign, Maze Design, Miro. Yeah, there's a bunch of other tools that you can use as well. Like if you're a designer and you have a digital product to test, oneclicktest.com is a good A/B testing tool that you can just blast it to everyone out there. And definitely Microsoft Forms. We're moving from G Suite to Microsoft now because they have quite an extensive amount of templates that we can use. Okay, what are some of the challenges that we have faced? So I broke it down to 3 different parts. We have communication challenges, mental health challenges, basically mental health and job satisfaction. And then we have technical challenges as well. So in communication, this is the most intense and like the biggest part that had to, be worked on the most, because communication is definitely reduced by so much because we are being on remote right now. So team members are always not in sync. Some are lost in translation, difficult to explain. Sometimes you get too much accessibility as well. You got non-stop calls. You get like 10 or 20 calls a day, and language barriers also is another thing. Meetings tend to run too long. I think that happens offline also. You have conflicting ideas, and it's hard to supervise and train interns or fresh graduates because they need the most supervision and can say like micromanagement in their work. And the fact that you always need to change your gears, like from like the more extensive kind of work to like training the fresh graduates. So there's a lot of all these challenges, which we found some solutions that potentially helped us. But in a nutshell, it's basically checking in more often and having a morning stand-up. So this part of Scrum. So all the designers are to put in what they are about to do today, what they finished yesterday, if they have anything that's blocking them today, and what are their tasks. So this portion is actually WhatsApped every day to the WhatsApp team chat. So that way I can know which designer is free, which designer is busy, so I can kind of like take this work from this person and put it to another person. So it's very important to have that. And also the too much accessibility, non-stop calls. I actually asked someone to schedule and block their lunch. Okay, so there's a question on what is the advantage of a buddy system. A buddy system, for example, over here, is that I think I'll answer that in the next slide. Okay, so yeah, basically having an agenda with a clear objective for meetings that run too long. Basically having a meeting with actionable next steps, and definitely trusting your team members and holding them accountable to make decisions, but to never blame them if anything goes wrong. So as a manager, or like you as a person that is managing a team, all you have to do is basically oil the communication, like make sure there are no blockers, spell things out as clear as possible, repeat things back to stakeholders to make sure that they understand, that you fully understand what you are talking about and what they're talking about. So this is like my favorite slide of the entire talk. Basically, to know what type of manager I want to be, I need to know exactly who I don't want to be. So this list on the right side is a personal list that I've created for myself. Your list might look different to any other person's list, but before I make any type of communication, or I type any form of email or text to anyone, I would go through this list first. Does it break any of my principles as a good manager? So I don't want to be a micromanager. I don't want to be someone who name drops to get things done, because name dropping is kind of a shortcut way to get your things done without getting people to really understand the problem, why they have to do things. Taking credit from others is definitely the worst thing ever, because a lot of this sifat all these criteria I learned from being under bad managers. Yeah, so that's one of the drawbacks of working remotely. You just can't control whether you have a quiet space or not. Okay, also, I don't want to be someone who loves airtime in meetings. I don't want to be someone who talks more than I listen. So I always take into consideration when I want to bring up a point, is it worth bringing up right now in front of everybody, in front of 40 people? Is it better to be taken off offline and stuff like that? Person who loves optics means like, oh, I like being a lead. I like to go out and like just show people that I'm a lead. That's terrible. I don't want to be that. And the rest of the list basically, which is quite self-explanatory. So it's very important to have this list as any manager, definitely. So to answer that question about the advantage of buddy system, so number 2 is an example of how a team member was interrupted by children quite often. So my team member currently has a baby just born, so it's going to be very noisy for him, and he only can work at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, so it's terrible. So as a manager, I don't encourage overtime working at all, because I feel like it's like super unproductive. I once put a hanger into a fridge before because I'm so tired because I OT. So I think that is the turning point for me to say, like, I don't want people to work like this. So I suggested that this team member to text us, he stand up, the one I said that was 10 a.m. every night before he sleeps if he can't do it, or he could go to a cafe, or he go to the office or something, just to get away from all that's happening in his house. So what he did potentially is that he went to his buddy's house. So both of them are buddies in this particular squad. So we have about 13 or 14 squads in Boost, addressing every single industry vertical. So he actually went to his house, and then both of them, 2 guys, they're just like working together, and like they're very, it's nice to see that they have this interaction of like friendship, and they were just helping each other. So he had a very good time, just working in peace at his colleague's place, and I was very happy that he did that as well. For buddy system, other advantages of buddy system is that if I am on leave, the product owner knows who's next in line to talk to, because work of a designer or work never ends, right? So you kind of need two people to be in the know of like what needs to be done. And also, it helps out with the culture lah, basically. Just any questions, anywhere nice to eat or whatever, then this buddy will help the new person or existing person. So yeah, so that answers that question. So the team members are feeling lonely and unmotivated. So I have some of them message me personally about this, and basically what I did is to just really check in on them once a week or like often, and make sure to give them work that could re-motivate them, because I do know who is doing what exactly, right? Like I know each designer's task precisely because of Jira and Confluence. Also, you can use Asana or Trello. So from me knowing what exact task everybody is doing, I can know if this person is feeling a bit dry or bored with their current task. So I would put tasks that would require collaboration, let's say research tasks or building wireframes or brainstorming, then it will be okay, it will be fine, as long as they work with another designer. Basically, it's the hardest for the extroverts in my team, but it's a definite heaven for the introverts in my team. They're super happy about being alone, left alone and stuff. So I don't really need to worry about them too much. But I need to worry about the extroverts in my team, which they love talking to each other. So that one, I really put them on a lot of research projects. So really, you have to know your team very, very well to be able to give them tasks that they will feel motivated to do. And also a lot of them go OT. I asked them to put an alarm 6 p.m. to stop working, and also to tell their squad, the rest of the stakeholders, that hey, after 6 p.m. I'm not going to do anything, not do anything, but don't expect me to reply after working hours, because that is my me time, right? Definitely a technical challenge that came to me the most, because like I feel like I'm working on hard mode or something. Throughout the whole remote working, my laptop actually got fried, so I had to work on my mobile phone for a few days. So I had to guide my designers on like moving pixels and how to link libraries and stuff like that from my mobile phone. So even my mobile phone was like getting really hot. So yeah, so it was a lot of issues. Basically, it's just what came out of this is just it trained my patience to be better. I didn't know my patience could be trained even more, but because of this, my patience have increased substantially. Privacy is an issue, yeah. So I have some teammates that accidentally shared WhatsApps that have very not safe for work stuff. But in the end, we just laugh about it because we were cool. But basically, if you want to share your screen, make sure you share the correct screen. And be totally wary of that. Uncomfortable working conditions, yeah. Basically going out to cafes, and I think nowadays the offices are opening, so I think it's okay to just go back once in a while. And for us, technical problems for designers is that we cannot observe body language properly because we are not face-to-face with them. So always request that they turn on their video, so at least we can get some sort of visual of who we are talking to, and we can see like their emotions on their face and everything. Because the more we just block ourselves, and like although we don't look as nice, we lose that one sense. You know, we have like a couple of senses, right, that we have, and if you don't have the sense of sight, then just here it's a bit sad lah, you know. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap it up soon. Okay, I have another question. With so many tools, wouldn't it be cumbersome to manage? Oh yes, definitely, because especially for my team, right? Over the past 2 months, we have migrated so many softwares to new software, and every month we are learning a new software. So basically when we hire, right, we hire people that are ready to learn, like they are ready to start from scratch from any software. So for me also, from the beginning until now, right, I keep learning new software. So what we do is that we try to, I have a playbook, I have a designer's playbook, okay? So in that playbook, I discuss with all my other designers to choose the best tool that we will all use as a team. Let's say for quantitative, we use Maze Design. And also for qualitative forms, we use Microsoft Forms. And I think it's just a discussion between you and your teammates of like what you want to use in the future. Let's say like in Jira and Confluence as well as how we manage our tickets, which is the same as the engineers. And we use Zeppelin, Zeplin, to sync up with the marketing and the engineers also on all the screens and all the illustrations and everything to be exported. So in the end, we will update this playbook. I have a slide of all the whole process that we have as a team and also all the tools that we use. We try not to use too many. We try to see which tools can be replaced with this new tool. And then what we do is we do an extensive research of like whether this tool is better or not and if we should pay for it. So there are always new tools coming out every month, every single day even. So for us, we always keep an open mind on like which tool can help us the best. Yeah, we always try it out first. So that's part of our culture. We never shoot down an idea immediately. We will see why and how can this idea be feasible first. And if it doesn't work, then we will know why it doesn't work. So I hate rejecting. I just want to have like a place, a safe space where people don't feel like they should be cautious of voicing out their stupid ideas, because I feel like I give a lot of stupid ideas also myself, but it's fun, because everybody's giving stupid ideas together, so it's just a fun place to work, right? Yeah, so with so many tools, create a playbook and really analyze which tools you want to use, because every tool is for a different reason. So the future of work, what's going to happen to all of us? So I'm actually quite excited about the future of remote work, because potentially, hopefully, I could be working still with Boost and I could be on a beach on Bali. And then I just go, hey, be right back, I'm going to go surf for a second and I can come back. So people prefer to stay home, people prefer to travel. But how do these are some of the questions that we can ask ourselves to make sure the culture is still there and that, work still gets done, right? So how can we ensure accountability with everybody in the team? And also, how they do want to be social, right, with all the other colleagues. We don't want to be, oh, I work with him for 5 years, but I've never seen his face. So maybe like once a week, you can have a social gathering in the office, stuff like that. And also people want to be promoted. So how can we ensure growth for every single designer? So for me, if this is one point that I think should be brought up, in all honesty, because my colleagues do want to grow, and if people want to leave the company, they will leave if their learning curve is stagnant, right? So my job as a manager is to make sure that their learning curve is always steep. And I have to make sure that their learning curve does not go stagnant. And if they do grow stagnant, it will be at a point where they are experts already in what they're doing and they are ready to build their own team. And so if they have reached that position, all I can do is congratulate them and wish them the best and basically overflow whatever they have learned to another company. So in Boost, we call them Boost graduation. So when they leave the company, they graduate from Boost, like school. So it's more of like a positive way of saying why you're leaving. It's not really leaving, but why you're graduating from Boost. So always keeping, it's a lot of work to make sure that their learning curve is steep. But if we have spelled out like earlier, basically this particular template, which I hold religiously in my entire life, which I cannot work and manage people without this really helps me manage my designers individually, because it gives a more real and hands-on approach to making sure that learning curve is steep so that they can stay. Yeah, so okay, All right, so what tools do I use currently? Okay, so now I'm opening the floor to all the questions, which I'm getting from WhatsApp from Norman. So what tools do I use? So for research, for UX research, I use, I'm gonna like plug in my friend Trinity Research Network. So what she does, we've been with her for a long time. So what she does is that we give her a criteria of people that we want to user test. And then we would, then she would supply people to us lah, basically. And then we would interview them face to face. So it could be for a prototype, or basically just building a persona of a person. So for user research, we use Trinity, and then we use Google Forms for the questions when you fill up. And then for more research tools that we use maze.design, maze.design, to configure flows of the app and have them user test them with all these people out there or like internally. So feedback can be given quite interactively and quite prettily. You guys can check it out. More user research tools we use is oneclicktest.com for A/B testing. And also we use Google Play's beta program, which we just released a small part of the app that's changed to the beta users that opt in. We also use for research, okay, I'll just put a pin on that first. Okay, for design itself, we use Sketch app. So all of us have Macs. To design the screens, we use Adobe XD as well. But we use Sketch more because we use Sketch Cloud. So all the Sketch files, all the design files are synced to the cloud immediately. Whenever somebody's on leave or whatever, that's not a problem because all the style guide and everything is all in the cloud. We just only migrated to that this year. So that's a huge overhaul. So we had to like sync up all the files and rename everything. That was such a lot of work, but it really paid off. InVision app also is one more research tool, yes, that we use. We stopped using Lookback. Basically, Lookback is an app where you can record the interactions on the phone and also on the face, because to be honest, we don't really look back on the videos. We technically just transcribe everything. And then we use Jira and for managing, we use Jira and Confluence. Jira and Confluence for product and design. For business, however, which they want to do, like, I want to propose this feature, I want to get resources, they use Asana to talk. So the Asana is like a business tool that all my business people use. Yeah. And we use a lot of forms, Google Sheets, but we have moved to Microsoft already. We have totally migrated from Slack to Teams. So we're not using Slack anymore because we have to pay. Another app that my colleague would totally recommend is Notion. It's much better than Asana. So Notion.so is an app which you can really customize what you want to do in product manage. Miro is another software that we use to plot user flows for the business side, and also like how is the engineers going to do it, like from backend. So to use that too. Yeah. What's in my so I think that's so far all of the softwares that we currently use. We are currently trying to phase off some of the software. So what is in my playbook? I want to show you, but I can't, but I'll just talk to you about it. So in my playbook, it's basically like what you saw just now, the teams, the team bubbles and the buddies. So in Boost, right, we have, let's say, like the bill payment vertical, and then we have like the vouchers vertical and stuff like that. So people will know which team, which designer is assigned to which team. So the buddy system is there on the playbook, very clear. And the process is very clearly put in that playbook as well, from end to end. So we have a design process for small features. We have a design process for big features. So, and also estimates. So that's like the most important part of the playbook, is that we put estimates in there. So the other stakeholders like product owners and business people, they can actually see how long it takes in the design process to create a beautiful feature that's validated. So that way, like partnerships won't go out to like the partners like, oh, this feature, well, we can do it in one day, you know. So we don't want to avoid. You want to avoid this 100%. So we want to put expectations that there are estimates on particular type of features. So if you want a feature like bill payment, it takes this long. If you want a feature like pick and win or boost loyalty, it will take this long. Estimates are there. And also our menu of items that we will help you with. So our design team will help you with research. Let's say you need help with product constructs. So we can, basically we are the one-point communication with the users, right? So we have user research that we can do for you. We got brand health research services for you. We got designing of features. We got pitches. Let's say if you want to do a pitch for a partner, we will help you with your deck, and a bunch of other things that we do. So our services, estimates for all of that and everything. So it's just a good detailed deck of like how to work with the design team. So that way, I think getting the process ironed out is super important as a manager, because yeah, it's if you can't have a proper process, then you can't focus on the people properly. So what I like to do is get the process done and make sure all the designers know about this process, and they're like very clear of what kind of services that they can help their own squad if they have a problem. So this playbook is important for the design team itself also, for them to recommend, like, okay, product owner, you have this problem right now. Why don't we do a user research for you, and we build a persona research. We build a persona for you through our research. So this way it empowers the designer also to know what to do next, because like I can't have everybody talk to me, right? If not, I go crazy. So I have to trust my designers to know the process enough to make sure everyone works as a well-oiled machine. So hopefully that addresses the question. How do I maintain social activities with colleagues during MCO? By Andre. So am I pronouncing it correctly? Andre or Andrea? Okay, so as a person, although I look like I'm quite an extrovert and stuff, like I talk a lot, talk fast, but I'm actually an introvert, so I don't really like calling people. I'm quite a recluse person, because the thing is, you can see it in my writing as well. Like if you go to my Instagram, I do write a lot of emotional stuff. It's part of my side job. But for introverts, they don't really mind being left alone. So social activities, we actually are planning a board game session online this Friday. So I actually assigned some of my designers to do that, because one of our interns is leaving to go to his studies already. So we do online board game stuff, games, and then we do weekly calls also lah, just to see how everybody is doing, if they have any problems and stuff like that. Other than that, if they want to talk about their feelings and whatnot, they usually just WhatsApp me personally, and I become their psychologist and talk to them about, what they can do and what I can help them with. Yeah, other than that, I guess with the MCO getting lifted, we could potentially go back to the office once a week and then see each other and say hi and go for steamboat and stuff. Okay, I think that is the last question. I've been talking for 45 minutes straight and I need some water. So is there any other questions while I drink my water? Oh, thank you, Anonymous. Okay, I'm actually looking at the chat now since. Okay, awesome. If you want to contact me at all, you can find me on LinkedIn, I guess. Carissa Ong TY. TY is actually my Chinese name. CHARISSAONGTY, and just drop me a message and say you're from the VLAN Asia webinar, then I can accept the connection. Yeah, I think that's about it. Anything else? Norman, do you want to take over? Oh yeah, make sure you use the template. It's very, very important. I've been using it for like 2-3 years already. Let me just drop Norman a message. Okay, he has an error in his system. Let's just wait a while. Hopefully that's helped you guys. Kind of whipped out these slides quite recently only, because I never had. It was really good also because it gave me a chance to reflect on like the whole 2 months, 2-3 months. Awesome. Hello, Norman.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah, sorry, real sorry about it. The whole system like just hanged on me. Yeah, thanks a lot, Carissa, for sharing all the insights on how to manage the team via remotely. There's a lot of good sharing down there. Yeah, so for those who've joined us, what do you call this? We have another session coming up this Thursday. It's by Battery Cool. It's transforming competition into successful collaboration. So if you're keen to actually join this session, you can actually join us. Yeah, and also I would like to encourage you guys to share your feedback by scanning this QR code, which is displayed on the screen, and yeah, dropping us a line or any inquiries if you like to know more about Microsoft Teams and how we can actually use it to um, basically work from home and remotely do work with your team. You can actually drop us a line and we can get someone to contact you as well. So thanks a lot, Clarissa, for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon again, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.